trust me, the school is not going to teach your child everything.
Yeah.
Not even the Christian schools that we go to. And so I'm taking my child to a Christian school. No. Because a Christian school will teach basically the basics, but everything will come back to the parent. And if you don't teach your child sex education, internet will teach them.
That's so true.
And you don't want the internet to teach your child sex education and sexuality. In many cases, we have had parents had to deal with the consequences of being absent in the life of a child, not talking to the child. Even when indicators have showed that there is something wrong, you keep ignoring and you think, we'll be fine. A child comes back from home and the only thing is slams the door and get inside. They come out only for meals and then they go back inside their bedrooms. You need to find out what's happening in the life of my child.
Parenting is one of the most difficult things in an era where technology is growing so fast. Times have changed, a lot is evolving, technology is evolving. So parenting and bringing up a morally upright teenager in such an era provides a lot of challenges and opportunities to parents. Yeah. So as a parent, you need to understand how to adjust your parenting techniques, your parenting approaches, especially when you're dealing with a teenager who has grown up in an era that you didn't grow up in. And today we want to have a conversation about teenage parenting, thoughtful parenting that is helpful for you as a parent raising a teenager. And this one is a bit different because I felt like many times you get to hear a lot from parents, and usually parents have similar challenges. But this particular episode, we are going to hear a teacher's perspective. Because many times, kids spend a lot of time at school than they spend at home. And sometimes parents are very oblivious about what happens at school, about who their child is at school, because children know how to fit in different environments. At school, they become themselves. When they get back home, they know dad is tough, mom is tough. So they kind of also cope and get to be that person that you expect. And you think you're raising a morally upright teenager until you sometimes get a shock of your life. Okay? So today we want to have a candid conversation. And I'm very happy to have a teacher who is a teacher by profession. And I'm not going to introduce himself this time around. I'm going to welcome him and give him the honors to introduce himself. And then we'll get into the conversation. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
What's your name and who are you?
Well, I'm Simon.
Yes.
Eboko.
Yes.
People sometimes have issues pronouncing that name.
Yeah.
Eboko.
Yeah.
And I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
By profession and a passionate one.
Yes.
I love always introducing myself as a teacher.
Yeah.
Because it was passion that took me to teaching.
Okay.
And I like young people.
Yeah.
I have taught now for about 14 years. 14
years, yeah.
From 2011. Literally making 14 years now.
Yeah.
And I was a pastor, also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I'm married.
Yeah.
And I love excellence.
Yes.
That's what you need to know for today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Good to know you, and I'm very happy that I posted you today.
Yes.
And today we are talking about teenagers. The thing is that the days when we were in our teens is not the days the kids who are in their teens now. It's not the same days, you know. A lot has changed. They have a lot of access to internet. They have a lot of access to phones. They have a lot of information at their disposal. Yeah. So, and that exposes them early to many things that the world has to offer. So in that era where you cannot stop, because now the question is no longer should we give kids phone. I think that's a wrong question, because whether you give them a phone or not, they'll still get
They
it.
will get it.
If you cut off internet at home and you don't buy them Wi-Fi, they'll still find a way to get the
They will
Wi-Fi.
still get it.
So I think it's important that we get the right questions, and I feel like the right question would be, in that era where there is a lot of exposure to internet and technology, how can a parent still bring up a morally upright teenager?
This starts when the child is still a toddler,
Yeah.
so that you don't get shocked when the child is already now a teenager.
Mm.
And one of the most important things in parenting is open communication.
Mm.
The whole summary of parenting is open communication, where you don't have an environment where a child expresses himself or herself freely and can tell you things that is happening in his life or in her life freely, then even in this era where we are in of technology, parents are going to find issues parenting. And like you said, you're not going to say, okay, now at 8 p.m. bring all your phones in my bedroom. A child could be having a
Doesn't
secret
work.
phone,
Doesn't work.
and you will never know.
Yeah.
When I bought my first phone, my dad only came to know when the ringtone I forgot to put it on silence. But he didn't know I had a phone. You can't say, okay, let me switch off Wi-Fi. Like you said, they will buy data. And so open communication is important in that you raise a child who has integrity, can open up to you and does not hide things from you. A child who will not hide friends away from you. A child who knows that I need to use a phone responsibly. Now, when you talk about internet, I think parents need to get in a place whereby you also get yourself there. You're not going to ignore it and say, okay, now the things of TikTok, for me, I'm not for those things. You have to get there. Find out the world that they are living in. Go into social media. Find out what is happening in social media, in the world of social media. Don't say me, I'm old school, I'm not going to go there. You need to find out. And when they discover that you're actually there, then they will be careful what they're going to be posting.
I know.
Because they know, Mom, Dad is going to see my status, what I've posted on my WhatsApp status. Mom is going to see what I've posted on Instagram. So you also need to be there and learn, because technology is evolving very fast, especially of artificial intelligence. These developers are crazy. Every day they're developing new stuff beyond even the end user. I mean, the end user is suffocated with a lot of things.
They have so many options at their disposal.
Yes. Of recent, I was listening to this guy, Elon Musk,
Yeah.
who is talking about, I think the AI developers should first pause and let people first comprehend what they already have in the market. And so technology is so fast, and as parents, we need also to get there. If there is something that new that has come, be interested in finding out. What is it?
Yeah.
How is it going to help me? How will my child get affected
Benefit. Yeah.
and benefit? Because it provides opportunity as well.
Yeah.
There are opportunities in technology, but there are also challenges. And so we need to know. For instance, every device, every technology device requires you signing terms and conditions.
Which I never read.
We never read. We just only scroll and look for accept
And agree.
and agree. And that is the danger. Read. Read the terms and conditions. And before you give in your information, you need to teach the child that these devices are there, but also learn to read. Because I will tell you, now we have things like signing up with your NIN. You sign up with either your passport number, your date of birth. These are common things that we usually do.
Yeah.
But I think a parent, when you realize that the device is asking for the behavior of a child, I know the patterns of a child, certain unique qualities of a child, now you need to get concerned. You need to get concerned, and like I said, open communication. Talk to a child. Say, there is this that have come up. Please don't go there. Because when they require now behavior patterns, you know now, because AI is about control.
They will tailor information
to
that child.
Against the child. And against now the entire system. Because AI initially was built to actually, reproduce someone's knowledge so that they
Right.
can use it in the future in case the person passes on.
Oh, yes.
But now the developers have also gotten, bad intentions. Develop it to control the mind, to control the people. You've had cases where a child plays games, and when they reach a certain level, they tell them, now go and kill. The thing is now, get somebody and kill. That's the challenge. Or commit suicide. But how did it start? It started by the time that they are what? Enrolling. There are certain things that they had to put in, either behavior patterns and what. And before you know it, it becomes mild. And a parent needs to get to know this. Just like we have tried to manage with the TV. That there are these sites. And how do you know that this site is bad?
Because you watch it.
You watched it.
And
And after watching it, you're not going to say, those are cartoons, I'm not going to watch it.
you have to sit there and watch that cartoon.
Sit and watch.
Hear the words they are saying.
Yes.
And know that this can be on replay for my child, or how to delete it.
And then you can now see how you can delete that. But if you say these are cartoons, I'm not going to watch the kids. Where are they? They are watching cartoons. You don't know what they're watching, because those cartoons are meant actually also to, control the mind of a child. I know these guys are very candid. Kids love cartoons. Kids love games. Kids love devices. And so everything.
So when you're putting up a game for a child, you need to first play that game yourself.
Yes.
And come to the end of it and recommend it for the child.
And recommend it for the child.
You need to put in the time to try. Parents are going to be like, parenting is now more deliberate than many thought. But sometimes people are like, no, just get a channel with cartoon, let them be playing. But you don't know what cartoons.
Before you know it, there's certain behavior that has been introduced in a child and in the house. And you realize, if they cannot display that behavior here, they take it to school, where they find their fellow colleagues who have also watched that cartoon.
And they can relate.
And they relate, and so birds of a feather. And before you know it, your child is totally different. And you wonder, say, no, but I raised this child well. At school, a child can be gotten into a kind of vice. And when the parent is called, they're shocked. It was like, no, it can't be my daughter. It can't be my son. I raised them well. But I said, but look here, evidence, let's look at the camera. Let's play the footages. Then it was like, what? And they're shocked. But you realize these things could be happening right in your backyard. Right in your backyard.
Yeah. So you talk about school. Now, I want us to go to the teenager in school.
Yes.
Because parents are not at school. You are at school. What are some of the things you've noticed, patterns that crop in by reason of being at school? And how can parents actually come in to identify those, but also to guide children on how to cope with other children without them dropping their values?
I would start by saying that I think there is one thing that parents have ignored, especially in our generation, is to get involved in the life of the child at school. How many parents these days attend parenting sessions at school? Meetings, parental meetings, academic visitation days. The number keep reducing every day. And what are they doing? They will tell you they're busy. Yes, I know we're in a generation, the corporate generation, that is so busy. And for them, once the child has gone into school, good riddance.
It's a relief.
It's a relief. And they can't wait for school to start, so that they take the children to school and they burden them there. And even when they come for academics, visitations, or any kind of visit, they only come with one thing, with grab, pocket money, and that is all. But when you tell them, okay, can you move around, maybe speak to the teachers and find out. Get to the class teachers, because the class teachers are with this child 24/7. Find out, be intentional about your child.
Who's my child when I'm not here?
Ask beyond just even the report card. Ask about the friends.
Who is the friend?
Who are the friends? Where is the sitting position in class? Where does he sit? Where does she sit in class? Is it in front? Is it at the back? Get involved. And when you get to know that he has friends, ask him, ask her, can I see one of your friends? Can I see some of your friends? And when you see a child is avoiding you with a teacher, when you come, I say, Mommy, you come and sit here, Daddy. Where's your teacher? The teacher is not around. You must have a question mark there.
Or if you call the friends and
they don't come, just know there's something wrong. But if you have the open communication and you're free with the child should be able to present the friends and say, oh, this is your friend, so where do you stay? Interrogate the friends as well. Where do you stay? So what's your name? Your report card, how many did you get? Now you start relating their performances. Then you can be able to know, say, oh, I think either they're in the right track or there is something wrong. When your child comes in with something that is not his or her, whose sweater is this? Whose uniform is this? I had a scenario where a child went home with an iPad that was not hers. And the mother arrested the iPad and said, whose iPad is this? For my friends. Are you allowed to have iPads at school? No. Why do you have an iPad in your bag? And brought the iPad straight to me. I said, I found my daughter with this iPad. And she's lying to me. Find out. So later on, I found out the owner of the iPad. And I said, no, I'm not going to hand you over this iPad. I'm going to hand it over to your parent. Now, that's a serious parent who goes in even to check the bag.
What does my child bring from school?
What does my child bring from? What have you packed? Another one, the child stole the phone from home and came with it to school. The parent called me, my son has come with the phone. Please arrest it. Now, that's being intentional.
Yeah, that's true.
But sometimes we are not present. The parents are not present in the life of the child. And being absent is one of the most dangerous things in the life of a teenager. Because these teenagers go through a lot. Some of them come from home. When it's time for holidays, they don't want to go back home. They want to be at school because I think that is where they find a little bit. A child tells me and say, teacher, I don't want to go back home. I said, why? So when I go back home, I am just with myself and my siblings. I said, where's mom? Abroad. Where's dad? Busy with government job. Who is at home? The bodyguards at the gate. And then, the maids. And so sometimes I have things I need to talk to someone. But there's nobody to talk to. So school is where I talk to you, teacher. I talk to so-and-so. I talk to my friends. But when I go back home, you're not allowed to be on phone. At the same time, the parent is not there. Now, getting back into school, parents need to get involved. Be intentional. If it means for you to take even just 30 minutes from your workplace and say, let me drop to school and see my son and see my daughter and say, how are you? Just how are you? How is everything? It could not be maybe you've come for just academics, but just to check on the welfare of the child at school. I can tell a child whose parents are intentional and a child whose parent is not intentional by the way they behave at school. I can see a very organized child. Their things are like this and they are not so much involved into any chaos. Then I know that this child, the parents are serious. But then you find this one who was not parented properly. They're the ones, stealing. They're the ones, doing all kinds of things. They don't care. When they are in the sweeping rota to sweep, they are nowhere. And then you realize this one, and every teacher is complaining about this.
You who is raising a morally upright child, they end up sweeping even when it's not there.
Yes, they end up because they are so concerned. One time I heard about 3 girls, senior 1 girls. They would even go as far as mopping their classroom on Saturday. And I got concerned. I told the headmaster, you need to recognize these children. On Saturdays, they have people who clean. But they said, we are going to clean. And I asked them, why are you cleaning? No, we are helping uncle and aunties who mop our classroom. I mean, we see them mop this classroom, but we are helping them. Then I realized it did not come from just here, from home.
It's from a parent who actually those kids are mopping at home.
Yes, they clean at home. They do everything as far as house chores are concerned. And now when they come in, they feel uncomfortable. When
they help at home, they help the auntie who is the nanny to mop. When they go back to school, they see somebody cleaning, they still see them as uncle. They still see them as auntie, and they feel they should help. And
if the class is not swept, say, so and so is supposed to be the class, came late. Say, okay. And before you know it, for them, they're already cleaning. They're cleaning the classroom. Oh, teacher, can I clean for you the whiteboard? They already clean up the whiteboard. The volunteer teacher, can I help you with your laptop to take it back? And then you just know this is not just maybe inborn, but it comes from home. So all the things that happen at school is a kind of a wild social jungle where all kinds of behavior you will find in there.
Yeah.
And for you to make sure that your child is safe is by getting involved in the life of your child, in every aspect of your child. Right from technology we talked about, knowing what kind of sites they're interested in, and also trying to get interested in it, getting back to school, interact with the teachers, the class teachers, interact with those who interact with them at a personal level, like friends.
Wow.
There you're going to get to know
who your teenager is.
Yes,
and I think that answers the major question, because the question is, first of all, you cannot avoid taking your child to school because of fear of meeting children who are raised from homes that are not morally upright. You can take them to school. They have to interact with people. But I think the key is to make sure that you're involved in knowing how they are getting along, getting to know their friends, getting to know their teachers.
And you see, of course, people have hoped for homeschooling because the fear of these social vices.
Yes.
But then you're forgetting that after the child, with due respect to homeschooling, homeschooling is perfect. But with the fear of intention was like the whole reason why I'm doing homeschooling is because I don't want my child to interact, with, this kind of moral and what.
That's a wrong reason.
It's a wrong reason, because at the end of it all, they're going to work.
They won't keep in your house.
They will not keep in your house.
Your home.
Because you're raising a child for the community to consume, not for you to consume.
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, your child is going to leave your home, is going to become a boss, or somebody is going to become their boss, and they will have a team to work in, a team which they did not study together with at home. These members in the team were in, these schools. And now here they are, and they're working with your child. Your princess. Who doesn't know how to talk?
Your prince. Your king.
Your king, I know, my baby. But now, your baby has grown, and the community have to consume them in terms of their services. And now you realize there could be even a problem in the team, the weak link in the team, because they have never they do their things alone. They want to finish their work alone. They're put in a team for them. They're alone. So at the end of the day, as much as we want to protect them from this, the best way to protect them is by you getting involved in their life.
But let them move and interact.
Let them move. Because if you've taught them, like the Bible says, teach them. And talking about the Bible, the other bit of it is to present your child to God. Because the Bible says, present your child and I will teach them. Let God teach your kids. Pray for them every day. Prayer is another key. Lay your hands on your child and pray. If it means every morning, when you go to school on those visitations, I'll give you a testimony. I have a friend of mine I met last year. I was helping her into writing her book. And she told me something that amazed me. She took the child to boarding, the boy. But she says every Saturday she would go there, not for anything, but just to pray with the boy. To pray with the boy. And so, why are you here? Mommy, I've come to pray with you. Hold my hands. Let's pray. And pray for 30 minutes and say, bye. No grab, no what, just prayer. Until the school got tired of her and Askari one day locked the gate. Say, you're not entering. She called the child via the fence and held the child's hand via the fence and prayed with the child. And everybody's saying, wow, your son is so different. He's so different. He does not, the behavior, he's very collected, calm, and not like others.
He's shielded.
He's shielded, yes. When the boy went to Cyprus for university, they went with the entire family and started a prayer walk around the university. Now that is another area of prayer. Pray for your child.
That's true.
Because, we cannot do so much.
Yeah.
But with God, is the ultimate, protector.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And as you were speaking, there's a point you mentioned that parents need to get involved in technology. Because there's a lot of things that are happening currently. Like there are very many platforms, for example, online platforms of making money. There's a lot of money. Actually, there are so many money-making online platforms. And sometimes it gets so hard to convince a parent, for example, to allow your children into that. Many parents think you're not working. I have an example of my friend who started Forex trading, and they went to Forex trade. And the dad didn't want to hear anything called Forex trade until the guy, I think, made the first 2 million shillings in a day. And came and told the dad about the money. That was, that thing, I don't know it. But the boy is making money. And I'm not here to advertise for it, of course. But what I'm saying is that there's so many money-making online platforms. And these teenagers are exploring them, but the parents don't know about it. I think it's very important that we get involved. If you hear that there is this platform that makes money and your child is interested, study about it. Get to know how authentic it is. What's the intention to the end user? And let your child explore. Because not everyone is going to do the traditional job that you want your child to do. So, thank you so much for sharing. And I want us to go now into another segment, which is a big challenge to parents, and it's called disciplining teenagers. Now, this confuses many parents because when you're a young child, if us who have toddlers and they don't have any choice but to listen to us. Their sense of reason is a bit low and not developed. Tell them, do this, bring that cup here, they'll bring it. Take that, can you come here? Do this, do this. But a teenager is a grown-up adult. But much as they are grown-ups, they still make mistakes. And parents don't know the approach to use. They are no longer the ones you call. Simon, come here. You call, and the guy will keep in his bedroom, and the bedroom is locked, and he'll act like he has not heard you. You come and knock on the bedroom, and the boy is there, and the door is locked, and you'll call, get annoyed, and go back. When he opens after 3 minutes, he will tell you I was sleepy. What are you going to do? Are you going to say, no, you are not sleeping? You are not there. You get what I mean?
Yes.
But it gets challenging that you can speak to a teenager and you're not helping them. So just to help parents on approaches of disciplining teenagers. And also maybe to point out maybe the mistakes that parents make. Because some could be doing a mistake in disciplining and it's not yielding a result, and then they are frustrated. So you'd also want to share some of the mistakes you feel parents make when it comes to disciplining children.
Thank you. I think this is a very pertinent area in parenting. But you see, we sometimes want to do what our parents did and try to raise our children the way we were raised, which is wrong. The times have changed. Our parents were in control of our behavior, in that the punishment, and again there's a difference between punishment and disciplining. We shall see that. Our parents were so much disciplinarian, and in the sense that it was about punishment. And the punishment was given to you so that you pay for it and you change behavior, whether you want it or no. I don't know how many canes I got, especially, being a firstborn. Usually firstborns get a lot of canes.
Yeah.
I got so many.
Yeah.
And in that, I was aligned in a certain way. I need to behave in a certain way in fear of being caned. And they can cane you for the mistake, and they will cane you for not crying after being caned. And when you cry, they will cane you while you're crying. And so sometimes we also want to reproduce the same thing. Now there is a law against caning children. And these kids know. They're knowledgeable. They know their rights. They know a lot of things that we don't know. So a parent who is going to apply the old way of disciplining a child is going to knock a wall. Because the life of a teenager is a life where now they are seeking for independence. They want to be independent. They want to do things their way, how they think is right, because they are also adults. They're young adults.
Yeah.
They're now getting, they can actually make better choices than the choice you want for them.
That's true. That's so true.
And so you need to be very careful when now you're starting to discipline a fellow adult who can actually make better and can even know that you're making a mistake. And for you, because you think I am a parent, you need to listen to me. But a child has seen that there's a mistake. You're going to make a mistake here. And so again, communication comes in. Even if you're going to discipline a child, let the child understand. And sometimes you don't want them to understand. Me, I am the adult here. I am your mother. I am your father.
I'm the one who gave birth to you.
I'm the one who gave birth to you. I am older than you. I've seen more years than you. So you need to listen.
That's wrong.
Now, that is the wrong bit of it. So when we want to control the behavior of a child without involving them, we knock a wall. I've had cases of, especially now we have the single mothers who are raising boys. And you realize when the boy was still a toddler, you'd carry, you peck, hold hands.
Your king.
But, my king, my prince. Now, when a child clocks 13, in the twin years, they don't want to be associated, even their friends to know that they are the kings.
They are the prince.
They are the princes at home. No, I mean, that's an embarrassment in front of the friends. And so they want to be independent. Even when you call them, they take their time. They take their time because, they're now getting into independence.
Masculinity.
So they don't want to be controlled anymore. And so you find the mother is struggling and say, my son does not listen to me anymore. When I tell this, I told that boy to put on these clothes, has refused to put on these clothes. And then they want to buy their own clothes because their fashion is different now. Not the one that you used to buy. You're going to bring for them shoes, a very nice shoe from Bata, and they will not put on. Because they have their own fashion they want to put on. And now, when they refuse to put on the one that you bought in discipline, you're going to say the child is in discipline. No. He's now becoming independent. He's becoming, my colleague told me, no, my son, he talks so little. He doesn't talk so much. I don't know what is wrong. What have I done? I said, no, you've not done anything. Now, he's growing. And so he wants a little bit of independence from you.
I have a friend who was telling me a story recently. She bought her child a bag, school bag.
Yes.
And the following morning, the child got the old bag and went to school.
Went with it.
The new one is the older version, I think, of Spider-Man. So at school, everyone has the new one.
Yes.
So the mom didn't know that those bags are in levels. So for her, she was excited. She went and bought a bag. So the following, the bag was even expensive.
You can imagine.
But the child didn't like it.
That is it. Now you realize, you the parent, you're ignorant about trends.
Yeah.
What is trending among the youth. So getting involved. Now punishment, like I said, there's a difference between punishment and disciplining. Like the Bible said, the reward of sin is what? Is death. The reward. Now the version will say that punishment of sin is death. You have to pay back for what you did. And punishment is done with anger, with a lot of hatred and bitterness. At the end of it all, you must feel. And there is no so much behavior change. But we need to go into disciplining. Where disciplining, the Bible says that that Lord loves, he does what? He chastens. So the chastening there is disciplining. Where
it's not punishing.
It's not punishing. Punishing is basically about a reward for the wrong that you've done. And the outcome of it is not basically about even behavior change. But
it's inflicting pain.
Inflicting pain.
Or loss. Or
you did this, so this is what you deserve. That's punishment. Because you've done this, you deserve this.
True.
It doesn't matter what's going to happen after that. You deserve this. But with disciplining, I first need to understand even. And that's why the generation, before you discipline a child, say, but, okay, you did this. Is that true? He said, yes. And what did we agree? We agreed that if you do this, this is what you're going to, that's what's going to happen. Is that okay? He said, yes. Okay, now, do the needful. Take your punishment or the consequence. And it's about negotiation. It's about negotiation now. Because if you don't negotiate, there's the law. You're emotionally torturing the child, right?
Yeah.
Emotionally, because even corporal punishment is not all about physical, it's also emotional. And so disciplining a child, that's where now tools like setting boundaries, where you agree together with the child. Don't set those boundaries alone. Call the child and say, we need to set now the ways of work. These are the ways of work. We don't call them the rules. We don't call them rules anymore. Or the don'ts and the do's. The ways of work. This is how we work.
Here.
Every morning, you must make sure that your room is clean. Every morning, you have to make sure that you do the dishes. This is how we do it. Now, the consequence of not doing the dishes is that you're going to do twice for 2 days. We shall double it so that somebody who is supposed to do tomorrow is going to be relieved his or her duty. Then for you, you have to do it.
That's not a rule, it's a way.
It's a way of working. But if you falter in the way of working, then there is a consequence.
You don't call it punishment.
There's a consequence. And there must be an agreement. And then the child say, okay, I agree. That's what we are going to do. I say, okay, every morning you have to make sure that you clean the compound. If you falter in cleaning the compound, you'll clean twice.
Simple.
As simple as that. So when you come and you find that the compound is not clean, say, George, you're meant to clean the compound. And you did not. What was our agreement? I said, Daddy, if I falter, I will clean. So tomorrow you're cleaning again, right? I said, okay. So there must be that kind of agreement. But if you do it alone, as a parent,
you make up your mind.
Just wake up one day. Now, these are the things these are the rules in this house. I say, but this is unfair. This is unfair.
That's true. And they'll tell you, Daddy, this is unfair.
Yeah, this is unfair. Because you did not involve them. But if you have involved me into something, I take responsibility. I am accountable. I will account for it. I will own it.
Because you were agreeable.
Yes, we agreed and we talked about it. And I do this a lot. In my class, before we start, maybe if I've met a new class, say, okay, now welcome to this term or this new year. What are the ways of working that we should do here? Oh, teacher, we should make, or we should have productive noise.
That's a child saying.
Productive noise. So which means if you find them making noise, either they're discussing something or you know what, say, okay, that's productive noise. Say, agree, do I agree? Say, okay, if you are now making unproductive noise, what's going to happen? Oh, I sit on the floor. Say, okay, nice. So we have agreed on that. Next one. We are all responsible for each other's property. Say, okay, so if one person loses a property, now what do? Either we look for it or we contribute money and we pay. Okay, in this class, everyone must keep the class clean. We keep the class clean. Now, those are the ways of working.
You don't come with rules and hang them
I don't come with you.
Everyone read there.
From the staff room, then you say, this is what we are going to do. No. Involve them. And this, I think, where parents have gone wrong. They have failed to involve the children. You think that you're an adult, so you're going to impose. You know, when you involve a child in such a thing, you give a child opportunity to tailor their behavior, to model their own behavior, as opposed to our days where our parents would model the way we behave.
Yeah.
Through the punishment, through, being harsh, a tough parent. No. Here you give a child opportunity to model their behavior through your guidance.
That's true.
And in that, you raise a morally upright child.
That's so true. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, I want us to talk about a topic that also parents struggle with, and that is teenagers and their sexuality. At what point should parents introduce that discussion about sex, about pregnancy, about opposite sex, about men if the child is a girl, about women, boys if the child is a boy, about girls, about women? At what point should that discussion be held? Secondly, from a teacher's perspective, because many children at home don't talk about sex with their parents. But when they go to school, then sexual vices start. You start to hear them having girlfriends and boyfriends at school. So from a teacher's perspective, how can a parent contribute in helping a child stay upright even when they are at school?
Maybe to start with, we need to know that a teenager is somebody, like I said, who is trying to discover himself or herself.
Yeah.
They are undergoing what we call adolescent stage, where the body is experiencing so many changes.
Sure.
Beyond even their comprehension. Some of them are so fast that they go into stigma because things are happening in their body that they have never experienced before, or they're even not seeing it happening in their friends. For example, girls, somebody will be struggling that, my breast is growing faster than others. And so that can become a challenge to them. And then the boys, they're becoming taller than others. They're calling them sky, maybe somebody's still short. And it was like, for you, you are, full stop. And so they struggle with all these kind of things. Now, when you talk about sexuality, is a topic where parents and even school sometimes have shied away from it. I don't remember my parents talking to me about sex.
Yeah.
The only time I remember when my father suspected that maybe I was engaged with a neighbor, just only threatened me and told me, I will tell your mother.
Period.
That was it. My mother just told me, if you get AIDS, don't come back to my home. That was what my mother told me.
On an assumption that you know how they get
You
AIDS.
know how they get AIDS.
It is not through drinking water.
Yes. And so we never had this discussion. And somehow we're able to cope through. I took what my mother told me so seriously, that dating was a little bit, an area not to go, because I feared to get AIDS.
Yeah.
I feared AIDS, and that scared me, and I was like, oh no. So even when I get myself a girlfriend, a boyfriend, I will not go far. Because I know, if I get AIDS,
yeah,
I will die, I will not go home. You see, but that's the best my mother did. And somehow it worked. But to answer your question, it starts from even a toddler stage, talking about sex. But it's a process. It's a process. Because you may find that a 2-year-old is trying to discover his or her body, knowing the parts of the body. This is my leg, this is, my bum, this is my stomach. I know it's a process. And saying when a child walks in, a 2-year-old walks in, or 3-year-old walks in the sitting room naked, I say, no, go back and put on. Go back and put on. This is a sitting room. You're not supposed to be naked in what? In a sitting room.
True.
Go dress up. And my boys all, up to now, is the 4-year-old. One time we were sitting in a taxi, and the taxi was so hot and wanted to remove his shirt. He refused. This is public.
Yeah.
He refused. We tried and said he refused to remove his shirt. Why? Because we kept on telling him that you're not supposed to be naked in a sitting room in the compound. That is also sex education that you're beginning.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Sex education. Now they take their body to be private.
From a young age.
Yes, from a young age. And when they go into secondary, now they're teenagers, even the upper primary, they now start now to realize is what you call boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, you still need to introduce that and say, you know what, if you have a friend, let that friend just be your friend. There is this, let them know there is what you call a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and the limits. These are the limits you should not engage, because your body is a temple of God. Do not defile your body. Talk to them, even in a biblical point of view. Teach them to respect themselves.
And their bodies.
And their bodies. The boys should not touch you anyhow, because your body is for you alone. Let them have that self-respect. I mean, there are girls I see and I've met at school that for a boy to go and tell that girl nonsense, they might have swallowed an axe. Because I mean, the girl is so organized. We also had those girls at school.
Yeah.
They were so organized. The way they carry themselves, they're so smart. Now, by the time you
the way you
go,
give them the skirt that is long, they leave it.
They leave it that
Others
way.
go and tailor it, and it reaches up here.
For them, they're organized. Even when they're talking, they're not talking so much any nonsense. And some of them were even pretty. But by the time you go to speak to this girl, Simanya, I want you to be my girlfriend, you must have swallowed an axe. Serious courage.
True.
Because the way they carry themselves. So you need to teach your girls to carry themselves in a certain way, to respect themselves. But then, there are also those girls that if any boy wants to know how the breast looks like or to touch, there are those girls specifically they will go to, but they will not mess up with others. Why? And all this starts from home. How you teach a child. Because trust me, the school is not going to teach your child everything.
Yeah.
Not even the Christian schools that we go to. And so I'm taking my child to a Christian school. No. Because a Christian school will teach basically the basics, but everything will come back to the parent. And unfortunately, if it is in boarding, you only have 3 months with the child at home. The 9 month is at school. So which means you have a lot of work to do in the 3 months that you are with the child in a year. So talking about sex, we need to be open. Be open. Call a spade a spade. Don't be shy about it. And sometimes...
Because either way they will know.
They will know. I mean, social media, if there are sites, there everything. And if you don't teach your child sex education, internet will teach them.
That's so true.
And you don't want the internet to teach your child sex education and sexuality. It will be terrible. And we're already living there, where parents have shied away from these things, and the internet is teaching children immorality. And so we need to be open about it. And sometimes the best way is actually to use your experience. Use your experience as a parent. Because a child will still ask you, so okay, mom, how did you meet dad? How were you at school? Were you having a boyfriend? Or did you have how many girlfriends did you have, dad? If really you're open with your child, use your experience to teach them. I think I will use my experience to teach my kids.
Yeah.
Because one thing is that I never slept with my wife until the wedding night, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And that is something I'll tell my children. My experience, and was like, you know what? Sex is when you are married, wedding night. Your mother is here. I never slept with her until the wedding night.
Nice.
And they'll be like, whoa, Dad, I want to be like you. I want to be like that. They will be careful.
Yeah. They will know the possibility
of
that happening, and then it will keep in their minds. And then you realize that your child is morally upright because they have a hero.
Yes.
They look up to.
They say, oh, because the world will tell them it's not possible, but say, but my parents.
I know even some people have heard you say that statement in there, and they're like,
yeah.
But I mean, that's your story. This is his story, you know. So, and for me, I've had countless experiences of people, especially things to do with purity. There's a way the world suffocates people who live in purity not to speak up, and they're like, what? Which world are you? Stop lying. When you see us with the hair on our legs, you think we are gods. You get what I mean?
Actually, one time I said that, and I was like, what? No, how is that possible? I said, it's possible.
It is.
It is very possible.
Now, the last question I'm going to ask you is about bullying at school. Because children are bullied by many reasons. Some, it's their body parts. Maybe they have a big nose. They have small breasts. I mean, the boy is short, but the classmates are so tall. And then people get names for that. Maybe one day the child was playing and the tooth broke, and then he has a gap. Every time he smiles, then people nickname them at school. And then you send a child to school and they come back when they are hurt because of what they call them at school. Now, as a parent, first of all, what they call them, you don't have influence over it. Secondly, the child can't do anything about it. Child is short, and that's a fact. The nose is big, the eyes are small maybe, or they've started growing and they've gotten many pimples on their faces, and everyone is like, oh my God, you have so many, and then they start not to want to go to school. You can't change that. You can't make the eyes bigger. How should a parent work with a child in that state where they are being bullied and yet they have to go to school? How can a parent be of support?
Now, it starts by but of course you also know that there are kids that are being bullied and parents are not aware.
Yes, yeah.
They're not so much aware, they're so oblivious. But I would maybe talk to a parent who may not know some indicators of a bullied child. If you see your child starting to withdraw, maybe from activities that they used to enjoy, their hobbies, and they want to be silent all the time, isolate themselves, you need to investigate and find out why. Sometimes when you want to take them to school, they start crying or they start dreading. And sometimes a child will tell you, I don't want to go back to school, I need another school. And for you think that that's the best school for you. That's the best school because
they
perform well, or your friends have taken their kids there, or you've gone through the same school and say, no, you go to the school, I need you to go. And when the child is saying, no, I am tired of that school, I want another school, you need to listen or find out from the teacher why. It goes back to what we talked earlier. Get interested even in the life of the friends of your child to find out what is it. That is going to give you a heads up to know. Sometimes you may realize that even sleep, they have breaks in their sleep. Insomnia. When they're sleeping, they're traumatized about what is going on. And the best way for you to handle a bullied child is still by you communicating with the child.
Getting to know.
If the child is having biological issues that are being tampered with at school or through the bullying, start by you appreciating the beauty of the child. Affirm them. Positive affirmation. You're my child. I give birth to you. You're beautiful and wonderful, and I'm proud of you. The affirmation is very important. I will tell you an example. I had a child that I was teaching. The child was a sickler. And the child said, you know what, for me I cannot amount to anything. I think my life is over. I mean, why would God make me? And then knew very well that I'm not going to go this far. I had that, it broke my heart. And I called the young girl, I said, you know what, you don't know who you are. God did not make a mistake. You have so much potential inside of you that the world is waiting for. You just need to break forth. And after we have talked, I prayed with her, and the child went ahead and started participating in national events. Last year, she went out of the country to participate, and she became the second in the entire Africa. And I remember calling her, I was like, do you remember what I told you? And she's one of the most lively children. But you see, herself, she was bullying her own self because of her condition. But it takes us to affirm them, talk to them, be open to them. And when you see that it has gone into mental health issues, get a counselor, somebody professional to deal with it. And if it means to withdraw the child from that school, change the school. Don't wait for a child to commit suicide or for a child to break down completely. When you see the grades have started declining slowly by slowly, there is something wrong.
That's true.
So you need to talk to them.
Yeah.
And in many cases, we have had parents had to deal with the consequences of being absent in the life of a child, not talking to the child. Even when indicators have showed that there is something wrong, you keep ignoring and you think, we'll be fine. A child comes back from home and the only thing is slams the door and get inside. They come out only for meals and then they go back inside their bedrooms. You need to find out what's happening in the life of my child.
That's true.
Talk to other parents as well. Network. And say, something is not right with my child. What do you want me to do? What do you think?
Yeah, ask other people.
Ask other people. There are people maybe who have gone through the same thing. You've heard stories of somebody who has gone through the same thing. Let them talk, let them relate. They can relate with you and you can get solutions. If it is mild,
Yeah.
seek professional
Help.
help.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like the conversation was very candid, and my take homes are so many. So many. But one of my take homes is to get exposed to technology
Yes.
before my child surprises me. The other thing is to really getting involved.
Yeah.
Don't assume that your school is helping you raise your child. There's a lot they are putting in, and sometimes it results into the unthinkable, suicidal thoughts, inadequacy, and all that. Yeah, so thank you so much. And I would like to take this opportunity to as well introduce the book that you're about to launch
Yes.
to the people. This is a book that he has written, which was actually one of the bases for our conversation. The book is called Parenting Thoughtfully, Navigating Parenting a Teenager in the Artificial Intelligence Era. It says that this book is intended to help a parent understand a teenager he or she is raising, the unique challenges of a teenager, how to identify a challenged teenager, how to help the teenager navigate the challenges, and possible tools to use when disciplining a teenager today. So I feel like this is very helpful. I mean, we didn't talk about everything, but there is a lot. I'm reading here indicators of addiction in a teenager, talking about romantic relationships that your teenagers are going through that you don't know about, healing a sexually abused teenager. All these is here, confusion about self-concept. I mean, they don't know who they are. We're talking about peer pressure and all that. So this book is available. Please inbox us in that email, and we'll get this book delivered to you. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I feel like this was so helpful, and I'm sure many parents have learned. Even us who still have toddlers, now we know what to do. I mean, these toddlers will soon be teenagers, and we cannot be oblivious of the things that might happen to them. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone who has tuned in today. I hope it was super helpful. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section as always, and share this video with your friends and family members. So till next time, bye-bye.